Hey everybody, one other episode of On the Paint Table is my weekly show where you see what I got done, what I'm working on, and what is coming up. So this week about 10 models finished and another 10-ish rebased for my Ogre project, some Marvel Crisis Protocol, and a couple of Juvie gang members for my Goliath gang for our Necromunda campaign. I've also got a whole bunch of stuff to work on for Kings of War 3. This is the 3rd edition of Kings of War, and I'm starting a new army for it, which will be my Northern Alliance. This is looking pretty rad. So let's take a look at what's going on, what I got finished this week, and what is coming up. So first things first, here is some rebased Ogors. This is my basically the next wave of things I wanted to rebase before I need to order more bases. That's my Butcher over here on the new style 50 mil bases. 3 man-eaters, my favorite models in the whole Ogre line. My Ninja, my Cathan, and I don't know, I think he's like some kind of like, just like Merc, like Pit Fighter almost. Man-eaters. I got another unit of Iron Guts done, and then over here is my first 2 of my Mordfangs, my Mordfang Riders. So I gotta do some painting now to actually like increase this up to 2,000 points. It's about 1,750 I've got rebased right now, and I gotta decide if I want to add more Mordfangs, if I want to add in a Hunter, or if I want to add in a few other like little bits of odds and ends. But I'm really happy with them. They turned out really good, and I'm stoked to get more stuff. We're going to get some games in, actually, against Owen's Ossiarch Bone Reapers. He's got a second copy of the starter set that he's going to do up to go with his Nagash to jump to about 1,500 points. And then I painted up these fellas over here, which is my Goliath Juvies. So these are some classic old metal 1st edition Necromunda Juvies, and I've got basically just 2 of them because my settlement keeps pumping them out, and they turn after a few games they turn into gangers, so I can use these guys over and over again basically as my gangers progress and get a little bit fightier. But I got 2 right now, and it gives me some miniatures to use that aren't the current new Goliaths and are a little more indicative of actually their stat line, because they're actually toughness 3, strength 3, and stuff like that. They haven't been shot full of all the growth hormones yet. And here's what I painted up for Marvel Crisis Protocol. I finished up all the baddies, the taxi cab, and then 2 of the heroes. Just getting things sort of like started. I did Ultron. A nice simple paint scheme. The bases are all done up with some old classic GW Foundation charred on granite, and then just layers of dry brushing to bring up that nice soft fade on the rubble and stuff. He himself was painted with old Citadel chainmail, washed with some gloss Null Oil, and then just all the details picked out with the new contrast, I think, flushed hair, and then just blended up with a few highlights to just kind of like make it pop. I got my, once again, contrast paints down on Doc Ock, so contrast, which is an Averland Sun, not Averland Sunset, whatever the yellow is, and the Orc Flush as well, and then just highlighted back up, and some old black metal from Scale 75 for his tentacles, for a classic like cartoon Doc Ock look. And then I painted up Crossbones, the poor man's Punisher, with his like body armor. It's all just different grays and browns, and his cool face mask. He's really leaning into that thing, I like that. Woof, just giving it a big punch right there. Baron Nemo, who I actually for the person I knew least about, I actually liked him the most in the game so far. He's like a crazy fencer, and he's like a support character as well, so he's pretty cool in his bomber jacket and I don't know, like weird gold regalia. And then I painted up Agent Elrond, or the Red Skull, with his Tesseract there, his gleaming orb he draws power from, and again, nice simple paint scheme. It's all blacks and grays and stuff. And kind of to punctuate that, I did a Peter Parker, and again, this is Citadel contrast paint, just like base coat there, and then lots of highlights. Super easy paint scheme. I love all the little cups and stuff that came in the frames as well to paint up. It's a classic sort of like Amazing Spider-Man. And the Man in the Legend, the Steve Rogers. Again, contrast paint job. That's the ultramarine blue, and then I think flushed hair highlighted back up. I did some basic like highlights and stuff on all his pouches and stuff too, but I'm pretty sure those are just snakebite leather. And then a car, base coated brown, airbrushed yellow, details, highlights, finished. It's a good size, but even against like the 28 mil stuff, like it's not super huge, like a compact car. You know, it's kind of a, whatchamacallit, a small Uber. So like whatever the small scale Uber is when you order an Uber. And I got 3 more models to paint. I got to paint Black Widow, Captain Marvel, and Iron Man. That's all the toys done. I gotta finish up my Daily Bugle, other car, and then just like the street furniture. There's like a couple dumpsters and some lampposts and stuff. And then that's all said, ready to play some games. So here's the stuff I'm working on. First of all, we got this crazy Northern Alliance mega army. It's like a bajillion snow trolls, a bunch of Carls and naiads, and then like the character on a big Razor Beast or whatever, Clansman, all kinds of madness, and some Ice Elves as well, actually, too. So tons of stuff, but to go with it, I've also got the Lord on a Chimera and a Giant. So I can do a Theme Giant. So I'll buy Ogre Giants, and I'll have like the big Giant Frost Giant as well. So tons of stuff to work on. I've also got the big hardcover rulebook. Look for a, I'm gonna do a GMG review on this relatively soon, but it's like it is a massive, like if you thought the 8th edition GW Warhammer rulebook was big, this thing is like a phone book big. So this is gonna take a minute to do. And this is the Jarl slash Skald. It's like a chieftain basically for the Northern Alliance as well in metal. Dude, every time I try and start this guy, I get something that jumps in front of it, but I really want to get Gotrek done this week because I want to try him out in a game. And then I got my Maw Pot to finish, so I can have my free scenery piece, which gives me the heals basically once per game, and then I can potentially fill it up again with dead guys and do even more healing. So lots of stuff to work on. The Crisis Protocol stuff that I haven't finished yet is just sitting at home, so it's all like sort of work in progress. I did all the bases at the same time, so it's just me finishing up all the details, and that's really it. So we got another 10 miniatures done this week, and lots more on the go. When I finish off the Crisis Protocol box, it's probably 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 more miniatures, plus my Maw Pot, plus whatever I feel like I want to finish for my Ogors to like round off to 2,000 points. So quite a bit coming probably next week, and you can see it on the paint table then. So we'll see you next time for that. Until then, I'm Ash. Have a great night. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to support the channel, of course, like and subscribe and hit the little bell below so you get notifications when I post future content. I do post stuff 7 days a week. If you want to support the channel further, you can, of course, buy a t-shirt through Spreadshirts, buy a measuring gauge or objective markers from Death Ray Designs, or, of course, most importantly, there is Patreon. Patreon is what makes all this possible, keeps the lights on, pays for the studio costs, pays for the equipment, model costs, and everything else, and most importantly, puts food in my kids' bellies and a roof over their heads. Big thanks to everyone, past, future, who supported me. I do this stuff because of you guys, and of course, I will continue doing it as long as I can.